Well, hello and welcome to the Smells Like Money podcast. Join me, Suzanne Chin Taylor, the DooDoo Diva, as I interview guests who are making an impact on how we manage and operate systems for conveying and treating wastewater. As a veteran of the wastewater, trenchless, and civil infrastructure industry, each week I'll be bringing you industry know-how from industry pros who know how. Join me each week as I speak with representatives of organizations that are utilizing disruptive or new technologies and methods, and executives who are excited to share how to be successful and sustainable in our vital industry. So whether you want to learn about the latest trends in technology, in treatment or trenchless, gain tips on training and retaining great talent, or simply how to be more efficient, productive, or profitable, this podcast is for you. Ready? Let's dive right in. Well, welcome everybody to this week's episode of the DooDoo Divas Smells Like Money podcast. We have the incredible privilege of visiting with someone that I just met at the Canadian Water and Wastewater Association conference in Halifax. And I was so impressed by the presentation that she gave that I just had to bring her onto the show and share with you some highlights from a program that they have in Canada, in British Columbia and Yukon, to help with workforce development and deal with the workforce shortage that we are experiencing, not just in the United States, but obviously worldwide, for water and wastewater operators and technicians. So it is with great pleasure that I introduce Kalpna Solanki, and she is the president and CEO of the Environmental Operators Certification Program for British Columbia and the Yukon. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So I was so impressed by the presentation, and I just want to give a little background and let you really talk about this, Kalpna. How did this program come about for your province or your provinces?
You mean in terms of the EOCP or the marketing plan itself?
No, the EOCP itself. Okay. Like how long has it been in place, and what brought about, hey, we need to do this?
So that's an interesting one, because the EOCP has been around since 1966, which is really quite amazing. And at that time, there were no regulations related to water or wastewater. What happened, though, was there were some operators who were working in a wastewater facility, and they got together and said, we've got to have some standards. We've got to have some processes in place so that things are done in a proper manner. So they put together this organization. And what's unique about it is that in 1993, when finally the wastewater regulations were enacted, the government, the provincial government at that time said, well, instead of us starting up our own department, we're just going to name the EOCP in our regulations as being responsible for classification of facilities and certification of operators. And then when the drinking water regulations were finalized in 2001, the same thing happened there. And so we're quite a unique organization. I think out of in North America, maybe out of several hundred, maybe just one or two that are like us, where we work with government, but we're actually not part of government.
Oh, interesting. So what I wanted to focus on today, thank you for giving us some background, is the marketing program and the outreach that you began, because obviously starting to see there was going to be a shortage. And how did you go about developing or deciding how you wanted to do this outreach?
Well, one of the key things was there was a study done in 2015 that showed that there was a shortage of operators. And it also showed that it was an aging workforce. The segment over the age of 50 was much higher than the provincial average population. in terms of the number of people over 50. So we knew that retirements were coming up. There was a shortage already, and we had this group of retirees that were going to be leaving the profession in the next few years. So one of the things we looked at, it's like, obviously we need to have more people finding out about the profession, more people making a decision to become operators. So then we started looking at, well, how are people finding out about this profession? And in a lot of cases, it was purely by accident. So to give you an example, at our first conference, there were 300 people in the room. And I said, so how many of you decided to become operators when you left high school? And it was maybe 2 people out of that entire group. So it was almost as if it was a really well kept secret. People found out about it once they became a laborer in a municipality, or they were working in with a backhoe, and someone said, "Oh, someone in the water department needs someone. Why don't you go help?" And that's how they entered the field, and then got the education and the experience, and moved up and got their certifications. So one of the key things we found out was one of the main goals and objectives was raise the profile of the profession and make people aware that this is a really viable alternative. There's the wages are good. A lot of the positions are unionized, so there's a fair amount of job security, and something that we don't always think about, but I'm sure Americans think about a great deal, is benefits. So you've got all of your medical, dental, pharmacare benefits are all included with employment. So that is a very important. People didn't know about this career. So then we looked at, well, what is our target group? And our target group was essentially, initially we thought it was mainly high school students or university students. And then we started doing some work with one of the ministries, and they said, well, this particular group tends to be fairly homogeneous. It's mainly white, it's mainly male. Are there other target groups you want to be looking at? So we started looking at that, and we sort of looked at using the term BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, and people of color, and then women as well. So that is a target. We basically said that was our target audience, and then younger individuals, of course, from high school and so on. So we looked at, okay, these are our target groups. How do we reach out to them? And that is where part of the video project came about, because we said, well, let's look at finding individuals that look like some of our target groups. Because when you have someone in a video doing something in a particular career and you can kind of identify with that person, you might be more inclined to look it up or find out more about it. So we started off with the video project. And for the video project, it actually covers more than BIPOC individuals. We have a variety of different individuals in the videos, and we have 5 videos that we had put together. And then promoting the videos, and we also started using screenshots from the videos of some of the candidates, and we started using them in transit ads, specifically transit ads of bus and SkyTrain in the Lower Mainland, where one of the training schools is, and then in 2 other cities which also have training schools. So just sort of, in a way, drawing people to find out more about the career, and then making them realize, hey, there's a school in my vicinity I could go to complete this program. So that was kind of the idea in terms of a multi-pronged approach. And then one of the other things we did is that we publish a quarterly magazine called the Operator Digest, and made a concerted effort to profile each one of those candidates in a segment that is titled Operator Profile. So really working on sort of getting the message out again, getting the message out again. And we've been continuing to do our research and looking at our analytics and looking at the scan rate of the QR code that's in the transit ads, and looking at which ones are working and which areas are not working. So really focusing on those. We also participate in career fairs, so we will show the videos there. We put together toolkits for our board directors to get the message out and show the videos as well. And then presenting at any opportunity we get, we present to Indigenous groups, we present to new immigrant groups, we present to women in trades, number of different areas, and just really focusing on getting the message out that this is actually a good career. And when you look at the operator profile, one of the things that comes up over and over is that the operators they enjoy their work. They also talk about how they like the idea of job security. They like the idea that every day is a little bit different. And if you're the kind of person that likes problem solving, it's a perfect job for you because, as I said, every day is different, and every day you get to solve some different problem. So those are some of the things. And then, of course, and a few years ago, we started up the social media outreach for the EOCP. So the videos are all promoted, and the profiles are all promoted by our social media channels as well.
Excellent. Well, since you've described that, for those of you who are just listening on audio version of the podcast, I do encourage you to come back and view it in our YouTube channel or in video format, because now we're going to segue and show you some of those videos that we've been speaking about. And this first one is, please tell me her name, the young lady.
Her name is Hannah, and she is a wastewater treatment operator for Squamish.
My job entails treating all of Squamish's wastewater from your house to the river. Hey, my name's Hannah. I'm a wastewater operator for the District of Squamish. It's really nice to be able to work outside in such an adventure-based community. It's beautiful. Being up and physical and enjoying the outdoors is what we're all here for. Yeah, the job is very diverse. We do preventative maintenance on pumps, machinery, different equipment. We do laboratory work on a daily basis, make sure that we're meeting quality standards. There's somewhere for someone to shine in every aspect. Once you have your certification, you're able to work anywhere across Canada. It's quite the opportunity. I mean, everyone needs clean water. It's an important aspect in our community. There's always a need for wastewater operators. Hey, my name's Hannah, and I love my job.
I love that video. She's so cool. She's so exuberant. And the what was it? The Be Strong tattoo was just, it was just amazing. I mean, you picked a great candidate for this. So what has been the reaction to her?
The reaction has been very positive. It's because I think what Hannah portrays in that video, it's a job, but it's a lifestyle as well, in terms of where she lives and where she works. And the West Coast of Canada tends to be very outdoorsy and very active. So there are many aspects of that video that are very appealing. Plus, there's a fair amount of drone footage. I'm a little bit of a geek. So when I talked to the videographer and we were talking about drone footage, I said, we need to put drone footage in every video, and just showing, really highlighting our natural landscape in this part of the world as well.
It is. It's an outdoor job, and British Columbia is just, it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful area. And so the next one that I want to introduce is a gentleman who was an immigrant. And the reason why this one attracted me to share it with the listeners and viewers is because very often we don't always look for talent in certain spots. And it is, as you will see in this video, that treasure is where you go looking and where you find it. And in the United States, we have a big immigrant population. We also have young people that, what is the term, dreamers. And, folks that maybe they would love to go to college, but they don't have the means, or maybe they could get the means in terms of a loan, but they don't want to get out of school and maybe necessarily be weighed down with college debt, but yet they still want to make a good living. They still want to be able to provide for themselves and their families. And I think this video is a great example of attracting people into our industry that may not have even thought about this as a potential career. And I'll let you introduce this gentleman a little bit for our audience.
So this is Omas, and he's from Nigeria. And in Nigeria, he was an engineer. When he moved to Canada, it was very difficult for him to work here as an engineer. And then he became a water distribution operator. And this video is really important because on the one hand, we've got a really huge shortage of people in the industry. And on the other hand, we've got these qualified immigrants coming to Canada, and they can't get jobs in their fields or even related fields. And they're very often underemployed in roles,
Yes.
I mean, such as, taxi drivers and dishwashers and things like that. And so, I mean, it wasn't an automatic shoo-in. He still had to get the experience. He still had to get the education. He got his certification, and he's such a valuable member of the team he works with.
Growing up in Nigeria, I realized and I know that water is life. Whether at home, schools, hospitals, they need water to survive. Basically, my job is to supply clean, safe drinking water to my community. A typical day of our jobs, we install water meters, we check fire hydrants for pressure, and we locate underground utilities. So I love my job because it's a well-paid and secure job. You work with diverse people. If you love the outdoor beautiful days like these, you are out doing your job with fresh air around you. Coming to Canada, getting my certification as a water distribution operator, I was able to secure a job with a good pay. That makes me feel great. Ame Akbaroko means water is life.
This last video that I felt was really important to share was about how this industry and a career as an operator is actually something that should be considered by the older population, or those who may be dissatisfied with their current career and are thinking, I really want to do something different. I'm bored, or I just don't like what I do. Or maybe it's been someone that, a mom or a dad who's been a stay-at-home dad or mom, and now they're an empty nester, and they decide, so kids are gone, I have no responsibilities. What am I going to do? I can't sit around the house all day twiddling my thumbs. I really would like to contribute to my community. So give us a little background on this one, because I just thought she was a real interesting story.
So I have to say, every one of our videos, I love them all. They all just special feeling in my heart for all of them. This one is different from the others in the sense that, for many reasons. First of all, the candidate for this video is June Williams. She is an Indigenous woman from Lake Babine First Nation, so that's up north. It's a fairly remote part of the country. And what is remarkable about this video is, number one, there aren't a lot of female operators. So there we have June, who's a female operator. We don't have a lot of Indigenous operators, and June is an Indigenous operator. But what's also remarkable is that she had the grit to go back to school at the age of 40 and become an operator. And I think she is a fabulous role model to other women, to other Indigenous people. And you'll see a little segment in this part of in this video as well that has her son Rob in the video, and he is an operator as well. So I do mention to June that we would like to see Rob's daughter become an operator as well, but we'll see how that goes. But we're working on it.
That's great.
The community used to be well water. When we ran out of bottled water, we'd have to boil our water or wait for the next delivery. And we know the importance of the water. Hi, I'm June Williams, and I'm the main operator for Tatchet Water Treatment Plant. It was such a big step, because going back to school, I had to learn the metric system all over again, and went from old school to the new technology. And I caught on very fast, and I'm really proud that I was one that got the ball rolling for them to start this program. Hi, Jackie. How are you? Good. Tatchet has an annual salmon harvest, and they sell the salmon and the salmon roe. It's good for the community economically, as well as food fish for the community, where people used to go and do their own fish. Now the fish is provided to them through the salmon harvest. Keeping the fish fresh with that water is very important for delivery, because they truck the salmon as far as to Vancouver. Thank you. I love you guys. I love you too. It's important to me and my community members, because I live here and my family lives here. To have clean, safe drinking water benefits our way of life, means everything to us. I encourage all Indigenous people to pursue this career in water treatment in the water industry, because water is life. Masaicho Awitsa. That means thank you very much. That's all for now.
Thank you so much for sharing these incredible videos with us. I mean, I so enjoyed them during the presentation. And so what I'd like to kind of wrap up with here is your pearls of wisdom for other organizations, whether it be someone independent that's trying to recruit. What should they be thinking about or doing or starting, even on a small scale, to try to recruit to solve this workforce shortage? I mean, these videos were beautiful. They were well, professionally and well produced. And maybe everybody doesn't have the ability to do something of that production value, but they can start out small. What were some of the key things that you feel you included that have really made this program a success for you?
I think some of the things is really determining who your target market is, in terms of who do you want to go after with regards to promoting the field or promoting the profession. And I think high school students are definitely a really good target audience. A lot of them start deciding in grade 10, 11, 12 as to whether they're going to go the science route or the arts route. So that is an opportunity for them. I think the immigrant group is really important too, because it lifts up the entire community when everyone is gainfully employed and there are jobs there. The one thing that I think is really important, and what I always talk about with regards to this role of being an environmental operator, it's a career which has purpose. You go there, you go to work, you're protecting the public, you're protecting the environment. There aren't a lot of jobs where you can go home feeling pretty proud at the end of the day that, for BC and Alberta, for BC and Yukon, I should say, we're looking at a population of around 5 million people that our environmental operators are responsible for providing safe drinking water and wastewater management to. So I think a lot of it is the audience, the messaging, and of course, we're happy to provide links to our audience. We have other groups in the US that are starting to use our videos, and I agree. Not everyone has the ability to bankroll essentially videos like this because it involves some travel and a fair amount of expense. But we're happy to share that resource.
But if you think about it, it's an investment that is only going to help cities for many generations to come. To invest in the people now, invest in going out and marketing and outreach and really communicating how wonderful this industry is to be a part of. I mean, I've been in it since 1998, and I knew 6 months in that I was in love. And it was not so much what we did, but it was the people. The people in this industry are some of the most wonderful human beings that you will ever encounter. And there's such passion and dedication to, what they do. And they're often unsung heroes. And, so I want to thank you for elevating the role of what they do through these videos, through your outreach program. And I hope that people in other parts of the world, Canada, United States, Europe, will, take a play from your book and maybe utilize some of these ideas to improve their own workforce, because I really do feel that you've done a fantastic job. And, when we were talking about the immigrant population, also thinking about for diversity is going into, especially in the United States, going into those underserved communities, those poorer communities in urban centers where there isn't a lot of educational opportunity. But yet, when you were saying earlier, people see someone that looks like them and they say to themselves, wow, if he or she can do it, so can I. Why don't I give this a shot?
Yes.
Yes. So again, thank you for sharing your time with me today and sharing, this wonderful content with our audience. And for those of you who are interested in learning more about it, Kalpna, could you please give us the website address that they can go to, or the social media channels here on the video?
Okay, so we've actually profiled the link to the videos at our main page. So if you just go to eocp.ca,
great,
all the links are there, and we're on TikTok as well.
Wonderful. Well, thank you again. And thank you to those of you who tuned in today. And until next time, keep it flowing. Thanks so much for joining me, the DooDoo Diva, on this week's episode of Smells Like Money. What stood out to you this week? Share your takeaways by leaving me a review. You can find out more about the new technologies, creating sustainable solutions, and insights on how to succeed in our vital industry by subscribing to the show. Whether you want to learn about the latest trends in wastewater infrastructure, treatment, or trenchless, you've got it all right here at Smells Like Money. If you're an industry expert and would like to be considered as a guest for the show, book a quick chat with me by visiting calendly.com/the2it group/B-A-podcast-guest, or simply click the link in the show notes below. Until next week, a big shout out to all my industry friends and those who will be. You are my superheroes. Thanks for tuning in, keeping it flowing, and we'll see you all next week.